My friends at Easy Cater are workplace catering pros, helping you find food for everything from daily employee meals to staff meetings and special events. Visit easycater.com/leaderassistant to find out more.
Hi, my name is Giovanna de Beij, and today's leader quote is from the West Point's Cadet Prayer. Make us to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong, and never to be content with a half-truth when the whole can be won.
The Leader Assistant podcast exists to encourage and challenge assistants to become confident, game-changing leader assistants.
Howdy, friends. Thank you so much for listening. You can check out the show notes at leaderassistant.com/147. And now a quick note about this episode's sponsor. With Loop and Tie, giving great gifts is simple. Here's how it works. You choose a curated collection of stylish, artisan-made gifts at prices from $10 to $500 per gift. Then your recipients get to choose their own gift from the collection that you send. Go to loopandtie.com and use promo code Leader Assistant. That's all caps, 2 words, Leader Assistant, to get 20% off. And yes, they do ship internationally, so visit loopandtie.com and use the code Leader Assistant for 20% off. Just know that the discount code expires on December 31st. Hey friends, thanks for tuning in to the Leader Assistant podcast. It's your host, Jeremy Burrows, and today I'm very excited to be speaking with Giovanna de Beij. Giovanna, where are you in the world?
I am in the Netherlands, in the city of Amstelveen, which is just outside of Amsterdam.
Very nice. And because I am terrible at English and terrible at pronouncing names, why don't you say your full name so everybody can hear your full name?
My full name, well, I'm Giovanna de Beij Mazariegos.
Perfect. Love it. Well, how long have you been an assistant?
I've been an assistant for 16 years.
Nice. That's right in line with me. I think I'm at 16 and a half or something like that. So why did you become an assistant?
Well, I actually, before moving to the Netherlands, so originally I'm from Guatemala and I was raised in the U.S. And I came to the Netherlands because my husband is Dutch. So when I moved here, I didn't speak Dutch. And the first job that was available was the job as an executive assistant. And that's how kind of it started, right? But I've been very, very fortunate to work with some great companies and great leaders. And it felt like a right fit always. So that's how I became an assistant, and I am still an assistant.
Nice. So what's your favorite part?
I like being close to the fire. You know, I love to solve problems. I think leadership is about solving problems. So, no day is the same, right? And I think that's the part that I like the most. Is it's a puzzle, a continuous puzzle every day.
Speaking of puzzles, what are some of the most challenging puzzles you've had to solve?
Sometimes it turns out it's actually culture related, right? So sometimes you realize in a communication that people are going in completely different directions. So trying to sort of stop the conversation in a polite way, of course, and sort of redirect. You have to be very thoughtful of, okay, well, this person is understanding this, and it's probably because English is not their first language, right? So you try to sort of put the pieces together so that the whole message is understood. So sometimes that can be a bit challenging.
Can you tell us any crazy stories from your time as an assistant? Any funny or interesting stories?
Let's see. It's very different for assistants, I think, in the Netherlands, definitely in Europe. I think it might be funny for U.S. assistants to hear that my boss gets me coffee quite often, and he remembers how I like my coffee, So, and I think the first time that happened, I was a bit shocked. I was like, no, I'll get you coffee. He's like, no, I'll get you coffee. Tell me, what do you want? And just that shock. I have to, when I think about it, I just have to giggle a little.
So, what's one of the most challenging and difficult situations where you really just had a big transformation, or it led to a big transformation in your career?
Every company has different cultures, right? And I think at one point I had to sort of stand up for myself. I didn't necessarily agree with certain tasks. I don't mind going out of my way to help people, but the tasks that I was being asked, there was no thank you after it. It was, wait, this isn't part of the job description. I'm really trying to help you. So I standing up for myself, I think this was early in my career. I was a bit scared to do it, right? So I thought, okay, well, I have to do it. And I thought I would get fired. That didn't happen. And I guess the challenge was overcoming that fear, but also realizing how silly that fear was, right? So it helped me grow and believe in myself a little bit more.
Yeah. So what helped you kind of get over that fear?
At one point, the person was traveling back from it was quite a long trip, and I thought, okay, they're landing at 5 a.m. and let's make sure there's at least some groceries in the fridge, right? So it was sort of a courtesy. And the reaction I got was, I don't like this, I don't like that, and I don't like that. And it was so, it just felt so wrong, so incorrect. And so I just had to do it. I had to say, well, listen, okay, great. So send me a list next time, right? And then the person realized, no, I'm sorry, I really appreciate what you're doing, etc. But that sort of set the border, and then it never happened again, right? So if I did go out of my way, then there was at least some recognition at the end.
Yeah, that's sounds like a not a very grateful situation there, where you tried to help them out and they're being picky and ungrateful, so.
Yeah, but I guess, we must always have empathy, right, for people. Everybody has a story and everybody's going through something. And sometimes when leaders grow too fast or achieve success too fast, they might forget, the little thank yous and please. So it was just that moment. So I guess it was a learning experience for both. But again, it goes back to sometimes we second guess ourselves and we think, no, maybe I'm overreacting, but it didn't feel right. And I just had to stand up and say, no, you have to have the courage and set that border. So, but that's really, this happened long ago, and it was just a great lesson, I think.
Yeah. So you're sitting in a room and it's full of brand new assistants, and they ask you to share one insight or one encouragement from your career as an assistant to all these newbies. What would you tell a room full of new assistants?
Believe in yourself. Again, we as assistants, sometimes we tend to second guess ourselves. And, even if you only have 3 years of experience, well, the person next to you might have 27 years. So together you have 30, right? So believe in yourself and work as a team. The more we help each other, the further we will get. We can go at it alone and be very lonely and be very, not achieve much. But if we go at it together and respect each other and help each other, then you can really bring the organization to the next level.
Yeah, well said. So I'm looking at your LinkedIn and your career. You worked at Mattel, Europe. You worked at Philips. Looks like you've supported legal executives, HR executives, finance executives. Which department do you or have you enjoyed maybe more than the others? Finance, HR, legal?
Well, definitely finance. I think I'm a finance person at heart, and I guess it's the rhythm, right? Finance is cyclical, so that's stable, right? Even though the day-to-day can be completely hectic, you're at a public company, so you know that you have your quarterly release coming up, so you kind of plan backwards from that, right? So that sort of continuum really sets me at ease. I'm now reporting to supporting the CEO and the CFO at my current company, so that's a perfect tandem, I think. That's something I'm enjoying a lot.
Nice. So have you ever had the CFO and the CEO ask you to do something at the exact same time?
Every day.
How do you prioritize? Who goes? I mean, obviously the CEO, is the CFO's boss, but.
Well, it's really funny because I think one time they both spoke at the same time, and it was just one of those most, like it was a comical moment, right? So I was just sort of pointing at them like, okay, which one, what, So they both had to laugh as well. And it's simple. It's, they both have urgent matters, right? And it's you have to make a split decision, a split second decision. And sometimes the CEO wins and sometimes the CFO wins. It's very simple. If the CFO actually needs to speak to a board member, well, then that request from the CEO will be taken care of 30 minutes from now, right? But right now I need to get a hold of that board member. So, it's split second decisions, I think.
Okay, so you really like finance world. Mm-hmm. How have you... Is there anything personal when it comes to finance, or like, does it translate into your personal world or your personal finances in the sense of like, are you interested in the stock market or investing, or, do you help your friends with financial, decisions?
No, I would no, I would never do that. I'm not responsible. No, it does translate. I do follow the market, of course, and think for the future. So I just enjoy the regularity of it. Of course, the markets are always volatile, right? So it's a bit of a gamble, but. I would never advise my friends. They should never take advice from me financially.
Nice. Well, what type of hobbies do you have? What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I love reading. I love anything history, so I'll read any history book. And I took up running this year. I used to boast that I only ran after taco trucks, right? But
I always say I only run if somebody's chasing me.
Yeah. But I started running this year, and I really enjoy it. So I try to do that at least 3 times a week. Well, running, I think, is saying a lot. I like to jog. I see a lot of people who are a little bit older than me running way faster, and they just, swoosh by. But I'm giving it my best for sure. And that helps me decompress after a stressful day for sure.
Nice. What about your family? Anything you want to tell us about your family?
So I'm married to a lovely Dutch gentleman. His name is Mark. I have a son, and he's 25 years old. Of course, he's moved out, so that helps. When I have to work long days, I don't have to worry about picking my child up from school, etc. And both my husband and my son are very supportive of my career. So they get excited when my company's in the news, and I'm quite a lucky person.
Did you have any challenges when your son was younger with just competing with your career?
No, he I mean, he was going to school, so that it was never really a big issue. I can understand, however. So, for example, in the Netherlands, you are allowed to take some parental leave, of course, and it's not seen. That's where we also fall into the whole different cultures, right? Mm-hmm. Here, if you need to leave at 4:30 to pick up your child, you can leave and pick up your child, right? And you're not expected to log back in. Of course, it's greatly appreciated if you log back in afterwards, right? But nobody's going to force you to log back in.
Nice. So very, very flexible, and that obviously would help for when you're trying to raise a kid.
Correct. And now, of course, we're moving to hybrid working solutions, right? So I currently work for Royal Baum Group, which is a construction company. It's one of the largest construction companies. It's the largest one in the Netherlands, right? Mm-hmm. And they are very you could say that they were still quite old-fashioned before Corona, right? Everybody was in the office and on-site, obviously. But now the people who are working who have corporate jobs, let's say office jobs, they can work from home as much as they want. So I think that helps also when you're raising children and you're an assistant. That gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I took advantage of the COVID-19 situation and moved back to my hometown of Kansas City, about 3.5 hours away from my company and my executive. So I'm now full-time remote, and I love it. And I don't know that I'd ever be able to go back into full-time in office.
But how do you keep engaged with the team? Because I think that has been a challenge for all assistants this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, like next week, I'm going back for a few days to be in the office for the board meetings, board dinner, so I go back once a quarter for that kind of, the big, if you will, big in-person meetings. And then, I just try to stay, active and engaged on the video conference calls that we have, and be very responsive to Slack messages and emails, and if my executive calls me, always answering, those kinds of things, so that it doesn't feel like I'm 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So, Giovanna, what makes an assistant a leader in your mind?
The nature of assisting is solving problems, right? And I think Colin Powell said that leadership is solving problems. General Colin Powell said that. Mm-hmm. And the moment that this is what he said, right? The moment that the moment people stop coming to you to solve the problems, then there has been a failure in leadership. And I don't think there are many assistants who can say that they have failed in leadership. Yeah, we're always solving problems all the time, even if it's just a quick chat at the coffee corner and somebody throws out the problem and you already have a solution, So I think that it is innate in us. Leadership is innate in all assistants.
Yeah. Well said. I got to see General Powell speak at a conference years ago. It was a leadership conference. It was really good.
Wow.
So
one of I truly admired him.
Yeah. Is that one of your favorite books you've read, or something about him, or one of?
Yeah, his biography was definitely very inspirational. It's. I grew up in the U.S., right? So as an immigrant from Guatemala, I thought it was it's so inspirational to read how his parents came to the United States, and then he became, who he became, right? Uh-huh. Such a powerhouse. So, I really was inspired by his story.
Speaking of books, what book has had the most direct impact on your assistant career, would you say, over the years?
besides the leader assistant.
Well, yeah, shameless plug for my book, sure, but
actually, Erin Meyer's The Culture Map, I highly recommend that. It really opened my eyes to, cultures that are high context communication versus low context, and it opens your eyes, but it just helps you develop, right? And then you can really navigate communication through cultures.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes so people can check it out if they're interested.
Yeah.
So, well, Giovanna, thank you so much for chatting. Is there anything else you'd like to share or say to the global assistant community?
Wow. No. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Like I said, let's help each other. Let's be there for each other, right? If assistants don't take care of each other, who will?
Amen. Awesome. Well, how can people reach out to you if they want to say hi or connect?
Oh, they can just reach out through LinkedIn. Look forward to this.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much again for being on the show, and best of luck to you. And hopefully I'll get to make it out to the Netherlands someday and explore the part of the world I haven't been to.
Oh, well, we'll have a drink. I promise you that.
Nice. Very nice. All right. Well, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Giovanna, for a great conversation. Check out the show notes at leaderassistant.com/147, and we will talk to you next time.
Please review on Apple Podcasts. GoBulls.com